Welcome to everyone, not only the people from UNCA, but also from neighboring colleges and universities, in particular the people of librarian discipline, who have come over to help us celebrate a career and how it contributes to a university. I'm Jim Pitts, and I'm the Academic Vice Chancellor, and my job is really to turn the program over to the person who is our leader, who is one of several chancellors that Mel Blowers worked with. And she got to benefit from some of his vision during her term when this fine facility came online. Without further ado, much esteemed Chancellor Patsy Bostic-Reed.
Thank you. And as Jim pointed out, there were several chancellors who had the opportunity to work with Mel, and it was my good fortune to be chancellor when this building was finished and when the visionary efforts to make the function sort of culminated. So I consider myself to be very, very fortunate. And as the letters over this area indicate, we are here today to dedicate the Malcolm E. Blowers Gallery here in Ramsey Library. And I have to tell you, Mel, that one of your claims to fame, of course, is your impeccable taste, and that I have recommended that we get some flamingo pink neon to put down each of those letters. See what a prince he is. I wanted to make a few comments, and I would start by saying that most of us have a helpmate who serves as counsel, advisor, and I understand in this case also provides some design consultation. And Sally, we're awfully glad to have you here today, and we know that you're an important part of this library. I wanted to comment on what a person can do in 21 years of service. And I'm going to do it briefly. I'm not going to follow the whole 21 years. But Mel Blowers was an important part of this campus from 1977 to 1998. And when you think back to 1977 and you look around you today, you can see the magnitude of that service and the huge impact that it had on this campus. 1977, this was a small university. It was a quality place, but was tiny compared to its size today. I don't know what the library looked like in 1977.
Flamingos.
But you can imagine what it must have looked like to have blossomed to what it has now, and it still functions well. I think the thing that is most mind-boggling to me is to think about what has happened to technology in those 21 years. I personally hated to see the card catalogs go. There was something that really felt good about being able to handle the cards and to look at things and to take your own notes. But Mel is visionary, and he knew that they were on their way, and he led in this area, maybe not in the card catalog, I don't really know that, I suspect that you did, but certainly in the electronic service that is possible through a library. And to have realized early on that these technical changes were happening is truly a visionary quality, and I think we owe him a debt of gratitude for that. I've had the opportunity to observe Mel's leadership style. In addition to being a visionary, he is a very constant person. He's quiet in his confidence. He watches the details, and as you know, most of what we do is made up of many, many details. He has the reputation for having not only excellent taste, but for being a hard taskmaster in something like building a building where he expects people to come in on time and in price. He includes other people involves staff and people across campus. I have even heard that when you were selecting chairs for the library, that you had members of the library community sit in them and report how they felt, whether or not they were going to be acceptable. But in including other people, he also makes himself and the direction of the library predictable. And I think one reason that people have worked so hard, and there are so many people who've worked so hard on this library, is that they knew where it was going, and they had great confidence in their leader. One of the parts of the legacy that he has left, in addition to this lovely, supremely functional building we're in now, he has left a very fine reputation in the system, the university system, for this library. It is often cited as being one of the leading ones in the system. As we show people through the campus, I like to tell them that this is the standard to which we are aspiring, that when all of our buildings look and function this well, look this good and function this well, we will have arrived. So he has set a standard. This is what President Broad calls a signature building, one that represents the campus well. This library is a major resource for Western North Carolina, and it reflects Mel's view that a library should serve both its local patrons and the greater community. I think one of the things that I admire the most is a person who can advance their own area while not losing sight of the bigger picture. And Mel has always been guided by the mission of this university and by a very strong philosophy concerning what a library should be. And I think that's one of the reasons that this has come together so well. There are many, many things that I could say, and I'm kind of mentally cutting and pasting right now because I think I plan to say more than I really need to say. But I did want to thank you on behalf of all of us, Mel. You have brought UNCA honor. You've infused this library with good. You've graced this campus and this gallery and have created an area that invites people in and enriches their lives through what they can access through a library. You have honored us, and it is a pleasure to honor you. We're going to ask Vice Chancellor Pitts to come forward and unveil a small plaque. I have an even smaller version to give Mel, and then we'll give him a chance to say a few words.
What it says is Malcolm E. Blowers Gallery, named to honor Malcolm Eugene Blowers, University Librarian, 1977 through 1998. In recognition of his great vision, his dedication, and his leadership in the UNCA community, D. Hayden Ramsey Library, the building, staff, services, and collections reflect his commitment to the place of the library in the liberal arts tradition, dedicated this date of 1999.
And so he won't have to travel here to enjoy those words. We have a replica.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chancellor Reed. Vice Chancellor Pitts. Wow. The plaque is wonderful. There's some obscene words up there that no one has said such nice things about me since I was in junior high school, I don't think. And I hardly know what to say. Sally told me to just be my usual self, and therefore to forget about saying anything profound. And she suggested I not tell any jokes, because she reminded me of what happened last time. So that doesn't leave me much to say. Personal autograph books were popular in my junior high school in upstate New York in the 1950s. And I've remembered what one of my peers wrote. She said, As I slide down the banister of life, I will remember you as a splinter I picked up along the way. Well, knowing that junior high school folks have marvelous ways of enhancing the self-esteem of their peers, I don't take that too seriously, but I liked another one a bit better. It was a bit more profound. Profound? Yes. And that one read, "You leave your fingerprints everywhere." Indeed, for good or ill, all of us, we all leave our fingerprints on everything we touch. During 21 years in one place, it's possible to leave a whole lot of fingerprints and a few smudge marks. But I'm deeply honored that you have chosen to count some of the fingerprints I have left here at UNCA as worthy to be remembered. I remember, too, that no one is an island. In a sense, today we are honoring 2 decades of UNCA administrators and the good folks, my good colleagues at Ramsey Library. In an uncommon way, both made it possible for me to take risks and to follow visions. If the truth be known, the amount of freedom and latitude I was given at UNCA to make professional judgments in every area I touched went far beyond prevailing norms elsewhere. I can scarcely remember any occasion when the 5 chancellors and 5 chief academic officers that I worked with ever exercised the weight of authority in our relationships. Rather, they exercised the weight of support. There are perhaps 1 or 2 exceptions, and I see Bill Sabo smiling already. I remember the occasion when I was told that pink marble belonged in bathrooms, not in library lobbies. There's no pink marble. I don't believe that's pink. And there's another, perhaps one other, and if you want to know, ask Dr. Sabo. He remembers. Time after time, I've had the support of many of you folks that are here, and I appreciate it. And of course, it was Lynn who picked up and put up, I should say, Lynn who put up the boundaries that kept me out of trouble. Lynn, I owe you a special gratitude. Time after time, folks gave us at Ramsey Library, you folks gave us at Ramsey Library the highest campus rating for good service, a real tribute to our outstanding library staff. What a privilege it has been to work with them, and how grateful I am for the long-standing support and kindness you have shown, and for the way in which you are today remembering our work together. Chancellor Bill Highsmith set the scene for my 21 years at Ramsey Library. He held to the centrality of the academic library in his educational philosophy, and he encouraged me to come to UNCA in part to plan for a new building. Eileen Highsmith is with us today. I don't see her right now, but thank you for, you honor me by coming. You honor me by coming. Thank you. And it was Pat Reed who delayed her chancellorial inauguration for some time until completion of the library building so it could be the conceptual and physical cornerstone of her inauguration. Thanks for being such a good friend. It was 2 years ago, this month, that our youngest of 3 sons, Chad, graduated from high school. And he was asked to say a few words on that occasion, and he began with these words: "I would like to thank the nursing home for letting my parents out today so they could attend this event." Words I'll long remember, Chad. Even Methuselah could not have contemplated retirement after that. So, Jim Pitts, you came just in time to endure my waning years. Thanks. And I really should recognize a couple of other folks, and by doing this, I'm going to miss some people, but my long colleague, Bill Kerwin, who has been University Librarian at Western Carolina University since September 1, 1977. Remember that date? I do, because that was the day I began here. And Bill and I have been close friends during times of institutional ebb and flow. We have been close friends for all that time, and Bill is the University Librarian at WCU. Bill, you honor me by being here. Thank you. Bede Mitchell is representing Appalachian State University, and Bede, thank you for being here. Can I make a public announcement? Bede has just been appointed the University Librarian at Georgia Southern University, so he'll be leaving our area shortly. But thanks for being here, Bede. Lynn, help me if there are others I should... yes, that man standing next to you is from out of town. Steve Olin was... I became acquainted with Steve when he was working on our library projects, and introduced Steve to Lynn, and you know the story. Thanks for being here. And I really want to just make an overall statement that each of you have honored me by being here today. This is exam week. Faculty are grading exams. Nothing else should interfere with grading of exams. And I appreciate those of you who sought relief in this abode for a few moments. But you've honored me by your presence here today, and you've honored me by putting my name at this busy intersection of academic and cultural life at UNCA. Thank you very much.
One more comment before turning this over to Jim Kuhlman. Mel, you spoke of administrative support. When administrators support people, it means that they trust their judgment and trust the way that they implement their judgment. So that's another feather in your cap. And now Jim Kuhlman.
I really need to tell you that Jim and I have been friends for over 15 years. But really, our paths crossed much earlier. Can I tell that?
Yeah, sure.
In 1977, when I came here, before I came, I said, I was looking at another opera, and I said, I've got to have another new position here if I come. And so Dr. Highsmith and others were willing to do that. I didn't know that actually they were going to make me take the salary out of my budget. They were willing to do that, and so one of my first tasks was to hire a new library faculty member. We advertised, we had a real strong pool. We brought in 4 candidates and we hired one. Jim Kuhlman was somewhere down in that pool. He reminded me a few years ago that he had been an applicant for a position here in 1977. We looked at him and said, this guy needs a little bit more experience. He needs to get a second graduate degree and some other things. And so then Jim didn't give up. And you'll find that to be the case as you live with him here. But Jim applied for another position about 4 years later, after he had gained some additional experience in another degree. And Robert will remember, I remember, that Robert, rightly so, reminded me that I made a shoot-from-the-hip decision because I didn't consult with the search committee, and I offered Jim the position before he left campus. So you can see how highly I thought about him. You may not remember, Robert, but you were right. But I was just so enamored by him and delighted that Jim is the university librarian here. So I better stop now. I could tell you about a lot of other things you'd be interested in, but I have an email address.
If I'd known he was going to do that, there's some stories about photographs and loading docks and campaigns for increasing space that I could tell, but I won't go into that. We're just about done. I'm not going to take up much time, but there are some folks who really did want to be here today and could not. And so they've sent some greetings that I'd like to real quickly read to Mel. And we've also printed them out in a fairly nice form so that you can take them with them. The first is from our friends at Boney Architect and Roger Leeson, who writes that he is unable to attend but does want to convey his congratulations to Mel, and that it was a pleasure to work with Mel over the course of several years and through the multiple phases of the addition and renovation projects. It was Mel's devotion to ideals and his vision of an outstanding facility that shaped the Ramsey Library of today. His abilities to draw the best from people and to wisely use all available resources are models for good leadership that others should emulate. I feel that the naming of an art gallery is a fitting tribute to his vision and leadership. And that, again, was from Roger Leeson at Boney Architects. Ann Weber, there are several departments that are having meetings, and we seem not to compete with departmental meetings today. And one of those is the psychology department, and Ann Weber sent something that she would like to have read, and I have edited it as this is with some effort. And if I'm any better than Kathy Mitchell was at reading an edited statement, I hope I don't have any slips like she did the other day. But anyway, a little bit from Ann. Ann starts and says that since she first arrived at UNCA in the fall of 1978, one of the great constants and highest quality experiences I have been able to count on is the library, a haven and a joy to a book lover such as myself, all due to the fine work of Mel Blowers and his dedicated and talented team. Mel has always made sure it was a welcoming place, a place not only to search for information, but a place to stay and sit and research and even become lost in words. Edit. To love books and then to trust people enough to lend them out, well, that boggles the mind. I have utmost appreciation and respect for our library staff and lasting gratitude for Mel Blowers' chief stewardship of our excellent, dynamic collection and of his guidance of the library as, above all, a place where people and ideas have always been welcome to meet, visit, and in a way never leave each other. Thanks, Mel, for the lasting memories. And that's from Ann Webb. And last but not least, from Arnold Wingrove, retired professor of drama, who is in New York working on a book. So he's busily at work in spite of being, not construction work, but busily at work. When Richard Reed and I were serving on the University Librarian Search Committee to replace Ainsley Whitman, we went to Washington, D.C. to the American Library Association meeting to interview a short list of candidates. As soon as we talked to Mel Blowers, we knew that he was the ideal person for UNCA. What Richard didn't know, but Mel later heard from me, is that before we went to Washington, I already knew that Mel was right for UNCA and had known it as soon as I opened and read his letter of application and the highly articulate annual report from Findlay College that accompanied it. That's how forceful was the sense of vision and purpose that emanated from this mild-mannered man. It was definitely the best piece of search committee work I was ever involved in. And this from Arnold. Mel, as soft-spoken as you always were, you were ruthless for excellence. You were an incomparable librarian, and now I'm sure you will be a wonderful gallery. Thank you, everybody. I want to thank you all for coming and joining with us today in the celebration. Refreshments are in the lobby. Please enjoy and take some time to talk with Mel and visit. Thanks again for coming.